Hello there, it's Jan here from JB Crafts. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a good day. I've got something a little bit different today. It was something that I wanted to do for my craft room, and I thought, you know what, I'll actually film it and we'll start a little mini series of craft room storage solutions. So I've had a couple of these for a while, and I thought, right, I want to make another one because my embossing folders are growing. And it's actually an embossing folder. It's like a little magazine file that I've made out of card and decorated with some pattern papers out of my stash. And it holds, I mean, this one's not quite full. It's got 2, 4, 6, 8, there's 10 in here. I'll probably get 12 in 3D embossing folders. And I've got them sorted, these are all floral ones. I have a second one that has got things like textures and lace and things like that in. And then I've got some more that have started building up. So I thought, right, we'll build a third one today to have. And I have these stood on my shelf so that I've got them within easy reach. My 2D embossing folders are all in a basket, and they're in themes. So I've got backgrounds, I've got hearts, I've got stars, I've got spotty ones, I've got a few textured ones in there. But I like to keep the 3D ones separate. So I'm going to show you how I put these together. They're really, really simple and reasonably quick to put together as well. So we'll just pop that one over to one side for a second. And they're made from 2 pieces of A4 cardstock. So I've cut my pieces down from an A4 sheet, and I've used the length of it, and I've gone at 9.5 inches down the length of the card and 8 inches across. All right, so this is going to make our finished project. And these measure, when they're finished, the total height of them is 7, I think, or 7.25. And then the width of it is 5.25. And then we've just taken this angle off to make them look like a little magazine file. And then I've put a circle die and cut through here to give it like the little finger pull to pull them on and off the shelf. So yeah, I'm just going to make another one for my craft room. And I thought, right, we'll film this one and just show you how I popped it together. So first thing we need to do is a little bit of scoring. Really, really simple. There's nothing too fussy today. So I'm going to pop that in my scoreboard here. And the first one we want to create was that width, which was 5.25. So I'm going to score all the way down at 5.25. And then the depth of the box is 2.25. All right, so when we add that on to our 5.25, we come to 7.5 there, all the way down. So just those 2 lines down the short side. And then I've rotated it so that my little skinny 1/2 inch tabs at the bottom, and the depth of it was that 2.25. So we're going to score again at 2.25 there. All right, so I'll just recap that really quickly. So whatever width you want your box to be, if you're making slightly different measurements, the width of it is the first score line, which was the 5.25. And then I've added on my 2.25 inch depth. You may not want yours, if you only want yours to be 1 inch, then make it, accordingly. But this sort of give me a nice space for, as I say, about a dozen embossing folders. So that second one was at 7.5, which just leaves a 1/2 inch that we're going to make into a glue tab. And then rotate so that that 1/2 inch skinny tab's at the bottom. And we're going to do that width again, which was 2.25. And you're going to need 2 pieces of this. It's sort of deconstructed. So yeah, two exactly the same. And then we're going to do a little bit of folding and burnishing. So we need that 1/2 inch one folded in for the glue tab that we're going to make. I'm going to fold it again on that other vertical score line, just making sure whenever I'm making construction projects, just make sure that everything lines up nice and neatly. It makes it much easier when you start putting everything together. And then I'm going to go across the bottom there. This is going to be the base of the box. So it's going to sit, and we just need to cut into that for a little bit. So I'm going to take my scissors and across these bottom panels. This will be the base of the box. This will be the side bit here. So I'm going to cut up the left hand side of my score line here to create the base. And then I'm going to cut up the left hand side again, and I'm going to take away that little rectangle, that little skinny bit that was on the 1/2 inch tab there, and cut that piece away completely, so we don't need that piece. And then because this is going to fold on the inside like this, I like to just take a little wedge off here, and that's basically getting rid of that score line that we cut away. And then I'm going to do the same on this side, and it just ensures that when you actually pop your box together, there's nothing sticking out of the side. You're going to get a nice rectangular base for the box. And then again, just for that same reason, I usually just snip a little bit off my glue tab so that nothing's poking out when it's all put together, and that one is good to go. Now we need to create the side pieces here. All right, so I've measured down from that left hand side, and we're going to make a cut all the way across to that top edge. So I've got one of these already made, and I've done the angle on this side here, and I've got the back of the box on the second piece. I'll show you that in a second. So this one is actually going to be the front of the box, and the angle's going to go up to the top edge here. All right, so the front of my box measures 5 inches. Right, so from that fold line, if we fold the base underneath here, I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to measure up the score line 5 inches and pop myself a little pencil mark, and I'm going to measure up that second score line 5 inches, pop myself a little pencil mark here. So essentially we are going to cut from that pencil mark up to that top left hand corner to make the side of the box there, so you can see that angle coming in just there. And then on the front we're going to go straight across between those two markers that we made, and we're actually going to cut all this part away. We don't need that part of the box. So you can use scissors for this, you can use your guillotine for this, whatever you feel most happy with. I'm actually going to cut across here, and I'm just going to cut the pencil line away. That saves me rubbing everything out when I've finished. Over to that score line, and then for the longer cut, I'm going to pop it in my little mini guillotine. It'll give me a nice finish on there, if it'll fit in there. Let's have a look. Let's get that bit out of the... Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to pop it and line that up with my blade, and then just take a nice straight edge off there. Okay, so we just need that one cut. If you're happy with your scissors, you can do that with your scissors. You can see we've just taken that piece off there. So that bit isn't needed, that piece that we've cut away, that is actually scrap. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is add some of my pattern paper, and then we'll cut the little hole through both pieces. So I'm going to cut through, because I've only got a very thin paper, I'm going to cut this circle through both of the pieces before we stick it all together. So I'm going to get rid of that bit. I've got a couple of pieces of paper here, and these are from an old paper pad. You can use any paper on here. We just need to recreate that line on here. So I'm going to take my ruler again, right, and pencil. I've got that one ready. I'll give you the sizes for these. So this one starts out at 7 by 5 inches. Okay, and then what you want to do is whatever height you've made your, let's get rid of the base pieces again so that they don't confuse us. Whatever height you've made your box, so mine is 7¼ I've made my mat layer 7. Okay, and then this one was 5, so I'm going to come to 4¾ So what I've done on my piece here then, because this is the other way, it's going to go this way, I've come from here to here. So I've come up this side, the 4¾ inches, and made a mark. And then I'm going to go right to that top corner, because this was already 1/4 inch smaller. And again, we're just going to use that guillotine and take that top piece off the edge there. So again, I'm just going to line this up with my blade here on the guillotine. Cut the pencil line away, although it will be on the reverse anyway. And then we should have our piece that fits that side. So you'll need to make sure when you do these that one angle's going from left down into the centre, and the other one will come from the top right down into the centre. It'll make sense in a minute when I show you the other piece. So we've now got the pieces that will stick in here, and it's just left a nice little border all the way around, and I'm going to use my all-purpose glue to pop these together. In fact, fact, yes, I will. I am going to pass this through my die cutting machine, so we could be taking a chance here, because I would prefer to wait for the glue to dry, but we'll see how we go. So this one's going to stick. Again, get rid of that base piece so that I can line this up, and you've got that little border all the way around there, and that one's going to stick in there. And then this piece that I've cut for the front here, this one measures 4 3/4 inches tall, because this was 5 inches and it was 2 1/4 wide, so it's just 2 inches, and this one's going to stick on here. And then I've just marked where I want my circle. I've used my one of my circle dies, placed it where I wanted it to go, and I've just drawn around the inside so that I know where to put this in place. And what I am going to do, because this is going to go through my die cutting machine, I am going to play a little bit safe and just pop some double-sided tape on the back of this one. Otherwise I'm going to end up with the glue squidging out everywhere. It may do it on this other side, but we'll see how we go. So let's just pop a couple of pieces of tape on there, and I'm going to put one across here just because I'm going to cut into it so that we've got that security. And give those a burnish. Take my tape off. I'm just going to take one of them off for now so that I can get this lined up. And again, it's got that same border around it, so once you're happy with the position, you can stick that side down, and then I just flip it over and take the remainder of the liner from the double-sided tape, and you know that you've got all that in the right place there. So that's that bit all stuck down, and hopefully it won't cause too much trouble when we come to die cut. So I've got some low tack tape. I'm going to line my little circle up with the pencil line that I drew, because that's I've gauged it roughly with the other folders. And then I'm going to stick this across here, and then I'm going to need my larger plates, I think, for this one, just to get this through the die cutting machine. So let me just grab those. So I want a cutting plate. I don't very often use the full-size plates, I must admit. They're usually the narrower ones, but this will fit on here fine. And then I've got my shims to go on the top there. And yes, it is still an old, those of you that use a Gemini from Crafter's Companion, if you've had one of the originals, you'll know that originally they came with the purple plates. And because I don't die cut into this one, I keep it as a top plate. I still use it. I love it. I've never needed, I replace the underneath one, but this one is one of the original plates that I had for my my Gemini. So I'm just going to pass that through and keep everything crossed that it doesn't squidge that glue too much. And then we'll look at the rest of the box. There we go. So if I take those out now, I think we're okay. Yeah, we got away with it. Put those back over there behind me. And because it was only a thin paper, that should have gone straight through. Yeah, both of them like so. All right, so this one, if you want to keep, you could use this for decoration somewhere else. And then what I did was add a slightly bigger, it is only just slightly bigger. So you can see that they are two almost. And what I did was cut out a piece of darker cardstock to make a little frame here. And I'm just going to pop that round the edge there to finish it off and just secure it, and sort of, because I'm going to use this to move it in and out, it's just going to strengthen that piece there. So again, I'm going to use that acrylic glue, pop this round the edge. It's just sort of finishing touches. I've got 1 or 2 pieces in my craft room that I've made myself just to fit the size of something. So yeah, this one's going to sit and just go round the edge there. That should match up nicely because I've used that die. And then we'll pop those 2 back to one side. And then all we've got to do is stick these pieces together now. So I created my second one. It's exactly the same, other than that this angle is going the opposite way. You can see what I mean now. This is going to stick together here, and then we've got our glue tab to stick it together at the other side. All right, so you want to do the scoring exactly the same. So this was at 5 1/4 and then at 7 1/2, and then rotated it and did it at 2 1/4 for the bottom. I've cut it in the bottom exactly the same, but you just want those angles going either way to create the sides of the box. And then I'm going to use my acrylic glue just because it grabs a little bit quicker than the all-purpose glue. It dries a little bit faster. So because we're going to pop this one together now, I'm going to lay it flat. I'm going to line this one up to the score line there so that everything matches. Just up to the score line, not over it. So when you fold it, you should have a nice flush, neat edge on there. Give that a press. And then we're going to do the same with this side. So this one will come over and fit onto this side. So again, I want glue on that glue tab that we created. And I'm putting plenty. Usually I say less is more with the glue, but when I'm making something that's got sort of a long lifespan, I do make sure that I've got plenty of adhesive on there. So that one should just fold over nice and flat there. And again, you can fold it back the other way and just check that you've got that nice flush edge at that side. It should fold flat both ways if you've got everything lined up in the right place. And then I am going to flick back now to my all-purpose glue to glue the base. I talk about this all the time. It's set so hard that it's almost like popping another layer of cardstock in. So you can see now we've got that same shape going on as what I've got here. I've got my little finger pull in the front. And for the base, I am going to pop, doesn't matter which one because there isn't really, this is actually the front piece, but I'm going to pop one of these in first, like I do when I'm making a box. Whoops. And then I'm going to put glue on the side panels and just tack those onto there. They'll probably pop up again in a second, but we can seal them in. That one on there, and then I'm going to put glue underneath the whole base, and this will help strengthen it because the folders do have a little bit of weight to them when you've got, you know, 10 dozen or so of them in there. And this is why this should fold now and create that rectangle perfectly without anything sticking out of the bottom. And then if you stand it up and then pop something in there that's got a little bit of length on it, ruler, I've got my longer bone folder there, just spread out the glue and you should get that really nice finish on the bottom. And when that's dry, it's going to be rock solid. Okay, so that's my box made. I did say it was quite a quick one today. Really, really simple. I think they look nice. You know, you can decorate them to suit your craft room. I'd got different colours on the, as I say, these are from a very old paper pad, just with that marbling on. So I've now got a green one. That was one of my original ones. I've got the pinky purple one, and then I've got a blue one. So if I tip those forward now, you can see we've got that sort of same setup with the new one there. And then I've not got a whole set of folders yet, but there are the spare ones that I had here, and I'm just going to drop those inside now, and there is room for me to put some more in there. And then I would probably use my label maker and add some little labels to the front eventually. Once I've decided which ones are going in which box, just put some labels on saying, you know, textures or floral or whatever the other category ends up being. You know, you can make as many of these as you want to fit on your desk. You could put ordinary embossing folders in here. You could keep stamp sets in there. I have to be very careful with mine because you know that I work in my conservatory, so my stamp sets are normally kept out of the light because that can yellow them. So I always keep those either in boxes or in drawers, not in normal light, but obviously it's not going to affect your embossing folders. So these all stand on my shelf, and then I can just pull off which one I want with that little finger pull. So yeah, something a bit different today. I'm going to pop it in a playlist for sort of craft room storage. There may be other things. I have got another box that I need to make. I don't know how soon I will get round to it, but when I come to do that one, I'll film that one as well. So yeah, my little magazine file for today. Very, very cute. So if you fancy anything like that, have a go. Let me know how you got on. If you've enjoyed the tutorial, give it a thumbs up for me. And I'll be back very, very soon with my next tutorial. So enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.